What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of the data points, technicals, everything else that you need to know, but I also want to talk on their expansion and hopefully some updates in that regard. So I'm going to go over all of that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently up 3.02%, and today is a very big day because once again, we are retesting and currently over the 50-day moving average. And like I signaled, I think during this video on the 23rd, that normally Lucid always has a lot of trouble with the 50-day moving average, but today seems to be breaking past that. So definitely I do feel that is a good indication that bigger things are coming. And not only that, it is above the pivot point, so $7.82. So in reality, technicals are looking very much primed and ready, although stochastic is getting up there a little bit, so currently 68. But there is a nice bullish sentiment behind the scenes. So I think you have a lot of different conflicting information, but based on the latest Morningstar report that did come out, I believe yesterday or the day before, it does put Lucid's fair market value at $10.50. But as of right now, there is no news, no SEC filings, nothing along those lines. So it is just merely following the technicals and the broader market. But keep in mind, there has been some good developments behind the scenes that does insinuate that something is coming. And there was this LinkedIn post by Lisa, and it does say Lucid Motors is expanding. If you have an interest in joining the world-class team in China, KSA, or Europe, let me know. And so what stands out to me in that statement is China, because it's been a while since we've heard that. I think we started to hear things Q3 of 2021, kind of heard a little bit of rumblings, I think, in Q3 2022, and then just once again, dead silence. They did do some hiring in China. I think that was early 2022 as well, but other than that, it's been completely silent. So it is very interesting to see that they are maybe still reconfirming their expansion into China. So hopefully that does mean that big things are coming, because there's a massive amount of demand in China, similar to Europe, but Lucid already taking over Europe step by step. Over and above that though, there was this temporary meeting. Unfortunately, I wish there was more to go on other than just a tentative meeting on May the 24th, but it does kind of piggyback off of that meeting that did happen in Saudi Arabia, so the conference. But of course, that was more so for US kind of connections to Saudi Arabia. But still, no matter what though, a lot of these tentative meetings, especially when it comes down to Saudi Arabia, might be a good indication that something is coming in that regard as well. And like I said, and based on what Lucid has said in the Q4 earnings, this is the quarter that they are going to be starting to have actual vehicles being delivered on an international scale. And of course, 𝗖𝗎𝗧𝗪 did say that in September of 2023, this is when the AMP2 facility is going to be starting their actual production, or I guess reassembly, or whatever you want to call it. But still, no matter what though, I think that does mean that maybe this is associated to that. Who knows? No matter what though, when it comes down to Lucid, like I've already said many times in the past, it is a long-term investment, 2025 and onward. Short term, there's a lot of volatility. Even looking at the stock price, it goes up, down, sideways, all over the place. But still, generally speaking, it has a huge competitive advantage based on the technology, and I feel a lot of people do know that. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. Over and above that, it is very interesting to see exactly what shorts are doing on this fine day, this fine Friday. So short score is currently 94, utilization is 100%, currently $1.16 billion worth of shorts out there. So that's pretty significant if you ask me. But today, very interesting, they are returning 1.52 million shares. So maybe something big is coming potentially, who knows? Over and above that, 23.4% of the free float is being shorted, and that works out to be roughly 151 million shares. Cost to borrow is going down a little bit, so 21.77% is the average. And it's kind of interesting to note, yesterday, and normally there's always one broker that's very much lagging. So as you can even see, yesterday there's typically a broker charging only 0.35 to 1%. So very small, but it does look like today they bumped it up, so 19.04%. So, and kind of looking at interactive brokers right here, they're charging 19.08. So that might be that one broker behind the scenes. But no matter what though, that's a pretty good sign that maybe something is coming. And like I've said many times in the past, potentially once they do unveil the gravity and unveil the price point and things like that, that might be the surprise catalyst that does prompt a squeeze. But keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence. But quickly moving on, looking at some options activity today, there was a total of $593,000 in call premiums versus $767,000 in put premiums. So a little bit more oriented towards puts today, but I do feel majority of which was this, because even in puts, it was roughly around 400,000 just on that one candle. So clearly one institution is going against Lucid, but if you subtract that, it is very much oriented towards calls. But outside of that, though, it does seem that a lot of big money is starting to get back in, with the exception of today, because today obviously is Friday. Typically there's always lower volume in general, but outside of today though, there's a lot more transactions happening both on the secondary market and dark pool, and they are starting to be a little bit more higher as far as a dollar value. So that might mean something is coming. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination. I know some retail investors do like to look at exactly what big money is doing, and over the last little bit, it does appear as though they are buying. But like I mentioned on the technicals, it is getting above currently the pivot point right now. So that does mean that $8 might be very, very close and there to stay. But of course, like I said, these videos are only for entertainment purposes only. So let me know you guys' thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. Are you buying, selling, holding? What is your take on Lucid? Over the last little bit, I actually haven't been doing any buying when it comes to Lucid. I've just been doing my weekly covered calls, collecting some premiums, because for the most part, it's been pretty standard and range bound in here. But over this, it's starting to look like it is breaking out. So again, that might be a good indication to switch from doing covered calls to potentially buying calls. But again, options, highly recommend you guys researching them, because they are completely beast among themselves. But let me know you guys' thoughts on all that in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Couple days left, only for May. Link in the description below and also comment. Sign up for a free account, you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So even if you just do that, take advantage of the free stock. You might as well. Free is a good dollar value, with the exception of Lucid, of course. But once again, let me know you guys' thoughts. Hopefully everyone's going to have a good weekend ahead of them. Good long weekend for those that do live in the States. But other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.